Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a new game called Minds of Nations. This game seems really interesting. I played it for a few days before the server reset, and it has a lot of complex options and really interesting features. One of the really interesting things is it lasts for a month, and each year is 10 minutes long. So when you look at this game, there is a ton of stuff to do, but the things that are really important for you to look at are up in the top left on this little bar. So first you have your population. I currently have 3,100 people roughly, and about 260 I can send off nation. Sending people off nation is extremely important for having a standing army, colonizing, or exploring new areas. There's a glitch right now in the 24 hours where it'll say that I get 0 people every year, but that's just a glitch. Energy, this is what actually helps drive what kind of ideas that you get, the ideas per year. This is pretty good, but not something you need to focus on. Food, extremely important. You have 1,500 tons at the start. I'm getting about 2K tons next year, but that's really good for speeding up builds later in the future. Gold is also important in this game. Gold, you can reduce colonization by about 25% later in the game by spending a certain amount on it. So it's pretty nice to have a stockpile up, and you also need this to, pay for things. Ideas is by far the most critical aspect of this game. Ideas are what increase your population, your infant mortality to decrease. It's how you decide to run your country. So it's really important. It's really interesting. We'll go into the ideas that I've picked out for this run next. Technology, also not super important. It'll go through this by itself, and eventually you'll get new weapons like a trebuchet later on, but not too important. Active stories, I have still not gotten an active story, so don't worry about that. And cyber points are the currency in game. Um, they're a microtransaction based thing. There's a few continents that don't have microtransactions, and I'm on one now. But you can see that how powerful they can be, where it gives you extra food or gold or spiritual ideas for the rest of the game. So when you look at this game, it seems really complex, but it's actually pretty easy. You can look at what other nations are doing, like Tresaxia over here. They sent us a option to be in a military alliance. So if we click on this, we can actually see the military alliance and either accept it or reject it. So we're going to assign it. They may not be the best ally considering they're so far away, but eventually later in the game, it could be super useful. You have the option to dissolve the alliance, make a defensive pact, claim their territory, or even send an insult. This is, just a few of the things that you can do with other countries, but you can also look at what their motto is down at the bottom. You can view their population, how many territories they currently hold, how large they are, all the information of what's going on in their country itself. This is super interesting because then you get to know if, one country has about 400,000 people more than you, you probably don't want to attack them until you get your allies to help you. Um, Going back, you can see that if you click on ours now after we accepted that alliance, Trustaxia is one of our allies. Everyone has a peaceful context to start off the game. It lasts for about 400 years, so we have a few days before anyone can even attack us. That makes it so that we can get ready to colonize and explore certain areas right as soon as we start the game. Okay, so now we're back at a little bit after the start of the game. It's been about 1 hour because it's been 60 minutes. I already had some colonizers go out. There's colonizing people right here, and these guys are going to explore. But what we really want to focus on is the original ideas. Ideas are super important in this game mode. We have spiritual methods, government, and day-to-day ideas. The amount of ideas points that you have is up in this top left, so I have 157, 67, 1K. And the reason those numbers are so low is because I've already gone through and I've chosen a few. So for spiritual methods, I went into ossuaries and I went to fasting, and I chose to abstain from all animal products. This is because it reduced the soul cycle. I got reduce the soul cycle for ascetic, noble, and also the year spent as common souls. So literally just a huge increase, and it was cheaper than intermittent fasting, which I believe had the exact same. Yep, the exact same thing. And this also reduces the amount of food consumed, which is good because we are going to try to get more food so we can start building stuff faster. That is the only one that I chose so far. I'm trying to get more idea points so I can actually do stuff. And so now if we go over to government, we've actually done two. So I went to education and I went to who's obligated to study, and it was anyone who doesn't have the skills that are being taught. And so this gave us more governance ideas every year and more year-to-day ideas or yearly day-to-day ideas. So these are both great. It also came with two free options of yearly examinations, and regional leadership has to assess this, that both give you, buffs. So this seemed like the best. It gave us the most bang for our buck, so we did that. And then we also went to institutionalized religion and chose that we were monotheistic. We did this because it was pretty cheap and it gave us plus 10% for spiritual ideas, a decreased cost for our government options, more day-to-day ideas, and more governance ideas. This is insane, and so I really think that this is one of the things that you want to start off with. If you can find something better, please let me know in the comments, but right now I think those are the best things to start off with. Now, in day-to-day, I actually have found that going through and which animals are skin for clothing, cattle, it decreases infant mortality and yearly population increase. All of these are really unique besides bears, which does the exact same thing, but cattle is about half the amount of points as bears. So pick cattle for the early game. If you want to be cool later, you can, do bears. These other ones give you some other options, but nothing too crazy. So we did that, and then we also went to our diet, um, and I gave food as charity to spiritual hermits because it decreased a lot of the soul cycle length, so we can get more ideas, and also gave food as charity to the very old so that there's less food wasted and to reduce the soul cycle lengths and everything. Those are what seem to be the best so far. Going through, once you get more and more ideas, then you can start actually doing things that you would really like. But if you're just starting out in this game and you have no clue what to do these ideas for sure. They'll give you a strong foundation for the rest of the game. And that's it for our first episode. We'll see you back here in a few days.